show marks a very special anniversary in the history of music.
50 years ago, the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band created a sensation, and many say the ripple effect is still being felt. In September 1964, the Beatles play their one and only concert in Dallas at the city's Memorial Auditorium. But the hysteria of Beatlemania was taking its toll, and less than 3 years after the Dallas concert, the band decided to give up touring and focus their efforts in the recording studio. And the results were dazzling. Sgt. Pepper saw the Beatles and their producer, George Martin, at a peak of creativity, bold experimentation, and yet immense commercial appeal.
The Beatles were given permission to do things that no one had ever done before. Do whatever you want, anything you want to do. And they took full advantage. With George Martin, they blew the lid off of pop music.
Kim Corbett teaches courses on music history at SMU, and Sgt. Pepper is part of the curriculum. He also remembers as a teenager when the album came out.
It didn't sound like anything I'd ever heard before. And when I first heard that John had written For the Benefit of Mr. Kite based on a circus poster, I thought, well, you can do that?
For the benefit of Mr. Kite, there will be a show tonight on trampoline.
So my 13th birthday was August of '67, and this was the #1 gift that I had wanted, and I was so excited when I got it.
Tori Winkleman says she wore out the grooves on Sgt. Pepper and, like everyone else, marveled at the album's elaborate packaging.
There was so much to see on the cover, so I spent a lot of time kind of looking at the pictures and trying to figure out who was who. But of course, this was my favorite part. I could just open this up and look at them.
You know, opening with the Sgt. Pepper, this great rockin' song, then going right into A Little Help from My Friends. Brilliant.
Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends.
Gary Schrum is a Beatles fan who's also in the business of rock and roll collectibles. At Heritage Auctions in Dallas, a copy of Sgt. Pepper signed by all 4 Beatles drew an astronomical sum.
We started the bidding at $15,000, and it climbed and climbed and climbed and went to $290,500, the most a Beatle album has sold for, most a Beatle autographed album has sold for.
There was the demarcation line between what came before and what came after.
Beatles collector Mark Nabishek says Sgt. Pepper had so many firsts, so much innovation, that its place in history is secure.
You take any poll of the top 500 albums, the top 100 albums of all time, it's always at the top or very near the top, usually at the top of the list.
Now, in the interest of equal time, not all the reviews were positive when the album was released.
Really?
The music critic from the New York Times said, "A surprising shoddiness in composition permeates the entire album. The overall effect," he said, "is busy and cluttered. Like an over-attended child, Sgt. Pepper is spoiled."
Does he still have a job?
Yeah. I think he's moved
on
back from that review, I think, in the decades since.